This is a falsification of the record.
No,
You're under oath. You are under oath right now, Miss Jones. That is not how the story went. I said, "Oh, we should do that." You know. Oh, but yeah, I ain't doing all that. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to do nothing.
No, that's not
I don't
what
want to do nothing.
That I will do the backside of it, social media or whatever else. And you even came up with the name for it. I said, that's really good.
I'm really good
I
at
said,
naming
but
things.
I want no part of the process.
I think I could develop a consulting business where I just name things.
Probably.
Like
You're a good namer.
If you got something that needs to be named, I'm pretty good at it.
You're the guy.
Not including two. And that's actually not the sound of an arrow. I'm not cracking a Fresca today.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Anyway, this is still the Ultra Crude Podcast. I'm your host, John. With me, as always, the fabulous Becca Marie Francis Jones.
Hello.
We're going to talk about ultra running. We're going to talk about life, maybe a little race directing and things going on here in Nashville, because that's where we're at. Mm-hmm. We're Nashvillians. I'm not really a Nashvillian. I wouldn't lay claim to that. I don't think I've earned it.
I think you've been here long enough. Yeah, I'll allow it.
Right,
as a native Nashvilleian, I'll allow it.
Yeah, the only people that are actually from Nashville grew up in Dixon.
I didn't fucking grow up in Dixon. I grew up in Dixon. He likes to make that joke.
I do like to make that joke. I like to make jokes. That's kind of my thing. I make jokes that are probably not always funny, but you know, that's sort of it. I gotta be honest. I'm out of sorts. Probably today, right now, especially because Miss Jones came home this afternoon with a brand new magazine, and I haven't seen a magazine this thick since the J.C. Penney catalog in the 90s. Like, this thing is an encyclopedia, more or less. And right on the cover is Hobby Farming, or the Hobby Farmer, or whatever. I don't know that I got all the way through the title. I just saw pigs and farmer and went, my life has not only changed in ways that I was unprepared for, but it appears to be continuing to change it in ways that I've not anticipated.
I've been telling you.
And I don't know what to do about it.
I don't know how many reels and memes and things that I can send you. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many. I have a pair of chicken muck boots. I don't. A blind person.
No, you don't have a pair of chicken muck boots. You have a pair of muck boots with chickens on them, and that's a completely different thing than having a pair of muck boots designed for chickening.
Listen, your life has been changing and evolving, and it's not my fault. I've been telling you, I've been dropping all the hints.
I don't feel evolved in it. I don't know that my life has been.
Listen, you should have seen it coming. All the signs were there.
I don't know that any of the signs were there.
It's like you don't watch my stories.
I get boring after a while. Sometimes you just go on story rants, and I can't follow it.
That's fine. You get the real life version.
Yeah. Anytime you do your truck, anytime I pull up my phone and I see there's like 4 story updates where you're in the truck and you're doing a truck talk or a car talk, steering wheel conversation, I know that you've had a bad experience with the community. You're out in the wild and you are not enjoying the interactions you're having with people.
It's pretty accurate.
So I just kind of tune those out.
Yeah.
Like, good gracious. Can't go out in public. Just having a rough day.
Well, I don't know how many videos of mini Highland cows I can send you for you not
to understand. Oh, cows. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I keep telling you about
the one thing I say I want to do on this farm, you immediately shut it down. You're like, immediately no.
What?
Immediately no.
What?
I told you the other day. I was like, I want to do that. And you're like,
coffee roasting?
No, not doing any of that. You want to roast your own coffee beans.
I think we should.
We finally find something that I value in life, which is coffee. I had this thought today because occasionally you'll make coffee. And I had a cup of coffee today from the coffee shop. And I think every now and then I used to get like a good cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's good coffee. And then I just drink normal coffee because I like coffee, but mostly I just want to have coffee. But I feel like if you drink too much good coffee, then that's what you want all the coffee to taste like all the time. And I'm beginning to spoil myself with good coffee because I get coffee shop coffee twice a week, Monday morning, Wednesday morning. It's so good.
No, I don't like their coffee.
It's new now. You haven't been in there.
Okay, well, before it was too acidic.
It's not anymore. Okay. It's not acidic at all. It's fantastic.
All right, so tell me about this.
That was all. I just had a dream one day, a couple days ago, and you immediately shut it down. And I felt like I'd been impassioned about it for nearly 45 minutes and wasn't getting a lot of feedback from you about making it possible.
I support it. I told you, I looked at coffee roasters. And then you asked me questions. I said I didn't look that hard, but like
You're
I
like,
looked at it
no.
because I would do small batch.
This is a falsification of the record.
No,
You're under oath. You are under oath right now, Miss Jones, and that is not how the story went. I said, oh, we should do that. You went, no. I went, but yeah, I ain't doing all that. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to do nothing.
No, that's not.
I don't want to do nothing.
I said I will do the backside of it, social media or whatever else. And you even came up with a name for it. I said that's really good.
I'm really good at naming things.
I want no part of the process.
I think I could develop a consulting business where I just name things.
Probably.
Like
you're a good namer.
If you got something that needs to be named, I'm pretty good at it.
You're the guy.
Not including children. I don't want to name children. That seems personal.
Yeah.
But if you need something named, like I think I could do good pet names.
Sure. Yeah.
Pretty good at naming pets.
You got a lot of pet naming practice?
Actually, I don't think I've ever named a pet.
Oh, you're pretty fucking confident you can name one. You don't really have a track record.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, like most things, I develop false confidence in a lot of areas in life that never come to fruition.
How about that? Would you like to move along now, or are you going to stand or sit there?
That was the first time realization I had out loud, and I didn't intend to. I'm going to have to sit on that for a minute.
Would you like to share with the people?
No, that was I probably did not want to share that. Oh. Yeah, here we are.
Oh, okay.
I do have an important update that I think a lot of people are on pins and needles. I got new pants this weekend. I decided upon, I did some research and picked out a pair of pants that I liked. And then we went to a local co-op because they had them there. They didn't really have the size I was looking for there, but I thought, well, maybe their online inventory just isn't matching what they have in the store. So we went in, and I was pretty happy with them. It wasn't the size I really wanted, and they were a bit short, but when I tried them on, they were long enough. They're like, I think this will work. I think they're about the same length as the pants I have now. I'm like, all right, we're going to go ahead and do it. And I get them home, and I wash them, put them back on. They're just not happening. Way too short. Way too short. I was like, crap baskets. No big deal. This local co-op has a wonderful return policy for its members. And I was excited about it. So I went ahead and knocked that out the next day. Boom. Pants on Friday, return pants on Saturday. Not going to hang on to them. And so I do the return, and the long hair beard guy at the counter was like, oh, just so you know, like, might want to check that fit before you take the tags off. And I went, well, I reckon I could have washed them with the tags on, but I don't think that worked out well for the tags. And then he didn't say anything else. That was the end of that interaction.
Yeah, he thought he would be smart mouth.
Like I've been a member for quite a few years, and I've never returned anything. I work in retail, you douche canoe. And I've tried on pants before. So why don't you just, I don't know, pull your hair back and give me my receipt?
Yeah, I don't know why he...
Like, you think this is the first time I've bought pants? You think I'm new at pants wearing? I'm wearing pants now. Had I come in without pants on, like, that might have been a tidbit. Like, I would appreciate, like, if I'd like wearing, a dress or a kilt or something, or just shorts. But buddy, I'm wearing pants. I know how to do it. I don't need your tips, your little anecdotes about tags. Check that fit. We're cutting tags off. I did. So why don't you shut up? And that's how I felt about that interaction.
All right. Well, that's...
So back to square one. We're not at square one with the pants. I just need to order them. So I don't know.
They're good looking pants.
One day I'll have a pants review of how the new pants are working for me. Okay. But now I'm down to one pair of pants. I was hoping to add a second pair into the rotation.
I'm really sorry you're struggling with that.
Anyway, you had an exciting weekend. You had an exciting week.
Did I?
Well, I was just using the word exciting to mask other words that are probably more appropriate. What did you do on yesterday, Miss Jones?
I went caving.
Now, you have a cave at the farm. What do you mean you went caving?
I joined the local grotto, and...
Why do they call it a grotto? Okay. I don't know either. That's why I asked you. You're part of the group.
It's like a pool in a cave. It's like
okay.
So, yeah. I don't know why it landed on it. It's a good thing to Google. Maybe someone can Google it for us, or I'll Google it later. But I joined our local caving grotto and was able to sign up and go on my first trip. And it was really cool. The drive wasn't too bad. We Spent several hours in the cave. It was pretty straightforward, though. Nothing too insane. There was some wetness, some water, some crawling, some scurrying over things, a couple long butt slides that I was sure to turn myself on my side, so in case I ripped my pants, it wouldn't be across my butt. It would be more of
That's
a
probably
a
a good.
sideline
That's probably a
thing.
good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I,
solid cave strategy there.
I only really knew like two people that were going on this trip, and by no, I mean like
You'd met them before
yeah,
because you've been to a couple cave meetings.
yeah. But if I didn't, I didn't know anyone else outside of that, so that's actually been pretty interesting. Everybody was super super duper friendly. It turned out to be a really fun whole group, and I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. I bring this up because you were experiencing a lot of emotion last
Yeah.
week. And I don't know, I'm curious as to when you realized that you were having all of these big feelings last week. And I think last week was probably stressful in a few different areas for you. But I don't know if it was stressful in a few different areas or it was stressful in this one area of this caving trip, which is your first big caving trip. Like you're part of this group. You're going to go caving with experienced cavers in a cave you've never been to, and this isn't like you're taking the road trip up to Mammoth and just doing a tour,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like you're going out in the middle of nowhere and crawling through a hole in the woods. So it's a little bit different than like a cave tour. But I don't know if that was the nucleus of all the big feelings you were having and you had all these kind of like side stresses that were compounding it, or the stress around this trip was compounding the other things you were interacting with.
No, I think it was the other things compounding. Yeah. It's I'm not used to feeling that nervous or anxious around things, and I think that's one of the things I said to you is how can I have these nerves? It just even socially about it. You're going into a
You did have
situation
some social.
like I can stand on the start line of a 100-mile race and feel nothing. I, stood at the start of running 600 miles of what I was feeling. Like, did I know it was going to be fine? Yeah. Was I excited? Yes. But also, like, yeah, this was like a beginner trip or whatever, but.
Well, they
And
said it was intermediate.
yeah, oh yeah, they
So
did. Next one is beginner. Yeah, he said, it's not exactly easy, but I would describe it as intermediate, moderate difficulty, which turned out to not be. It was totally fine. But it's such an area that I don't know how to gauge my physical ability or what those things look like and how they kind of, you know, measure up. I think in the realm of running and what we do, like your knowledge, your skill, your talent, like you can kind of, it's not necessarily an ultra sign up ranking, but you know what I mean? Like you can kind of see where you are on a level to sign up for a race. You can quickly figure out what will be outside of your comfort zone, what may be challenging you, and what areas you will be challenged during that event.
yeah, and this is kind of why I think it's important to talk about and why I wanted to bring it up because one, I think this is an entry point for a lot of runners to deal with some of these emotions before an event, regardless of how experienced you may be in running or ultra running or whatever it is. There's that emotion that can happen before it or during it, for that matter. But it's also a really important thing to do in life to experience this sort of emotion. And one of the things that we talked about was that these are really good emotions for you to have. This experience that you have now, the experience that you have on Friday night and Saturday night before this event is so important to go through as a human and especially an adult human. Because most of the time from this point in our life forward, all of these emotions are going to come, they're going to come before something that's ultimately probably not a good experience. They're going to come through either a life change or they're probably all going to come before a life change, but varying life changes, right? Like those emotions you have when you're going to, you're going to get terminated at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Or you've got a loved one or somebody's you love dearly is just moving away or whatever that is. I think most of the events in our life, unfortunately, are going to come with kind of a negative result at the end. And we don't know how to process it. And we don't know how to get through it. It's very rare to have something organic to have this that you know is going to have a good result. And so I think we have to go out and find those things, those events to work through the process, knowing ultimately it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like this is ultimately something I want to do. And good is a range. She's going to yell at the cat right now. There's a range of good. And maybe, you do slide down on your butt and you rip your pants and it's ultimately scary and you moon half the people there and you freak out in the cave, right?
Yeah.
Like that's not as good as it just going in and having a great time, but it's still good. Still a good thing to go through. And so we don't have these as much in life unless we seek them out. But when did you realize that these emotions were, when did you realize you were having them?
Probably when you told me. I mean, if we're being honest.
Well, to be fair, yeah, I was picking up on it. And, but also that's kind of the beauty of having somebody in your life. Every now and then you need somebody that knows you better than you do. Mm-hmm. That can say, hey, what's going on? And work through it and talk through it. And we're kind of fortunate to have each other in that regard. Sometimes it's a close girlfriend or a close dude friend that can kind of say, hey, let's work through this a bit. And I think all of your emotions that you had were really valid. Like, were you scared and were you nervous?
Yeah, I mean, I was. But I also and I think what really gets me in that is, to me, it's just there's nothing to be afraid. I mean, yeah, there's always stuff, but it's going to be fine. Like, I'm going with a group of I know that safety will be followed. It'll be fine. People go in this cave, but there's still so many unknown things. But it to me, it wasn't like a real fear. Like, you're having this anxiety, and there's nothing to be anxious about.
But see, but in that in and of itself, that's a trap of having the emotion, because then you're getting irritated at yourself and you're trying to overthink it, saying I shouldn't be feeling this because it's all fine. And it's nice to sit there and say on the other side of it, or give the advice, like, don't worry about something that hasn't happened yet. Like, that's comforting to say until you're having all of those worrying emotions about something that hasn't happened yet. And it's a different thing to worry about the experience in and of itself, as opposed to being worried that there's going to be a cave in while you're under there. Like, if that was your primary concern, we would have said, hey, listen, like, you can't control that. You can't game plan around it. Like, you can't worry about a catastrophic event as much as you can worry about just the experience in the whole. And the experience of the whole was, you're going to do something that you have not done before with people that you don't know in an area you've never been to before. Those are all valid things to worry about. And I always tell people, and I will always tell people, when they're nervous, if it's around an event or a feeling, that they should be nervous.
You feel exactly how you're supposed to.
You feel
what you say?
Most of the time. I mean, there's occasions in life where you're feeling things that you shouldn't be feeling. Regardless, you're feeling them, so let's work through it. But a lot of times in life, especially in our world, you're feeling how you're supposed to feel. If you come to me before your race and go, man, I'm just nervous, and I'm going to go, oh, good, you should be nervous. Like, that's an important emotion to have, because it's heightening all of your senses to prepare you for what is to come. So your body was preparing you for this experience. If you ignore it and you say it's dumb to worry about it, I shouldn't be nervous, that's just going to compound the anxiety you're having, because now you've layered something else over the top of it. And now you've got all this emotion around, well, I shouldn't have anxiety. Now I'm anxious because I have anxiety, and I'm upset because I have anxiety. And we're just trying to detach from the emotions that are present.
Oh, I like detachment.
You are a big fan of detachment. You've detached a bit, but I think it's a way to not deal with it. And then for so many people in so many areas of life, it's a default, because sitting in it, talking through it with somebody else, or working through it on your own is just uncomfortable to do. And I think you've kind of gotten to a point where you rather detach until you have no option, and then move forward.
Yeah.
And you bypass the emotional process altogether.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the way to be. There are times.
I think we're saying now that, like, this isn't necessary to do.
No, I will say I can talk people through it and I can understand it, but it is also something that for me, it's when I know it's something that I just have to get through.
You are
I have to table the emotions and I have to go through the motions in order to get the result that I want.
you're very much, I think one of your strengths is when you've committed to doing something, you disregard how you feel. If it's whatever it is, you're not going to let that emotion guide you in the process. You're not going to listen to a lot of emotions. And to say that you don't experience any nervousness or anxiousness on the starting line of 100 miles is probably not the most accurate thing. I would say that they're not to the extent you experienced them this week. But I've seen you be antsy on the starting line. I think there's a little bit more of anticipation that comes with, and a little bit more excitement that accompanies a little bit of that anxiousness.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I get more excited than
Yeah.
anything. But I don't get nervous around what I'm about to do. I understand. I think for me personally, I accept fully that I can only control what I can control and that there's going to be a lot of unknowns. And I do get excited about seeing what comes up and what's going to happen. Like I genuinely,
Yeah.
I,
Well, and you were very excited to be doing caving,
oh yeah,
but
yeah.
there was that unknown. And this is, I think, the value and what I love so much about ultra running, but where so many of us fall short in the experience in and of itself is we just don't take what we've learned and move it and bring it to other areas of our life.
Mhm.
Like you had all of the power last week to take what you've learned running ultras, to take the confidence and the experiences that you've had, your knowledge, your wisdom, in running 100 miles or 300 or whatever, pick a distance,
Yeah.
and bring it to the eve of your cave trip. But there was a disconnect in doing it until we had to flesh it out.
Mm-hmm.
We had to say, you didn't know what snacks to bring. You couldn't pack snacks or water for a new experience.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how much to bring. I don't want to bring too much. I don't want to not bring enough. And we weren't really sure how long we were going to be in there, but I assumed probably about 4 to 5 hours. Maybe 3 would kind of be on the short side. But it's like, I don't know. And that was like, and I also didn't want to bring too much water because I like to drink water. I really enjoy drinking water. I'm a camel. And having to go pee in a cave is a whole different thing. Like there's all these different things. And now this one had running water, so it probably would have been okay. There's all this other stuff of like, figuring out your body. And it's hard to think about like, how am I going to contort and crawl and do all these things when you got a full bladder? Because you don't want to have to full with peeing. So I just kind of almost refused to drink water.
That's fair. But
I felt that today though. I was like, oh, I did not drink enough water yesterday. Because then I also didn't want to catch up on drinking water for the drive back because I didn't want to have to keep stopping. I was like, man, I really didn't drink enough water yesterday. I probably didn't even drink a liter.
Are you okay today though?
Yeah, but I definitely like felt like more dried out, if that makes sense. Like a sense of dehydration.
But that's you've got to, you and everybody else, me, listen, you've got to take the areas of experience and the areas where you are confident and gain knowledge and then bring them into a new experience.
Yeah.
Like that's the gift, that's the power, right? Of ultra running and going through this. If you run 100 miles and you don't have anything to apply to your life and you can't figure out how to go into a cave for the first time, what were you doing out there? Like first of all, how did you do that? And maybe like people are just out there and you're not pushing yourself in the experience. You're not having to grow and be stretched and learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just getting by on your grit and spunk and physical fitness. That's another area I would, if that's the case, then I would implore you to find areas that make you anxious in the days prior, that give you a sense of unknown during the event, and allow you to unpack and walk away with feeling like you grew and learned not just the mechanics of doing it, but learned how you operate and understand that. And that's how you get through and improve in life. Like if you just do the thing and you don't stop and ask yourself after you did it, how you can apply some of those tools or what you learned to your life, then what's the point of doing the thing?
I mean, that's a good point. I
Is
guess
it just about the buckles and the medals? Is it just about the Instagram post? Because I got to be honest, like I'm committed to growth. And I'm so committed to growth where I see other people that are not growing, it irritates me. Because
Add
all I
that
want
to the
to,
list.
but I want to grow in my life. I want other people to grow in theirs. Like I don't understand wanting to be content with where you're at. And I'm not talking about the house or the car you're driving or, you know, the number of kids you have or the job title you have. Like those aren't metrics of growth, right? They can be byproducts of growth, but it's not how we're going to measure it. Like growth is, I did this event. Now I can take everything I learned and go into this event. I went through this experience, and that's going to enable me to go through that experience, or it's going to enable me to help somebody else go through an experience of theirs. Like if I had not done emotional work and unpacking and figuring out, you know, why these things come up and how to work through them, I'd have looked at you like you were crazy on Friday and just been pissed off. Like, why are you wrecking up my Friday night or my Saturday night? Like, get your crap together. And then just been irritated. The value in growth is that you can share the growth. Like, you go, hey, what's going on there, Jones? Like, what's happening?
What's up? What's going on? Hey,
You seem a little off kilter.
seem like a crazy person.
A little bit crazy person.
Hey.
You want to talk about that? You know, I don't know that you essentially want to talk about. I think you wanted to talk about to an extent where you wanted to feel better, but didn't know how to start the conversation.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know if I even I mean, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it.
You talked about it earlier in the week, kind of as a flyer.
Yeah.
Like,
blip. It's just a little blip. Yeah.
Are you going to be as nervous the next time you go?
No, and I'm going next Sunday, and pretty sure it's Sunday. Should double check that.
This is money of life.
No, I'm not. And then it'll be 3 caves, and they're a little bit shorter than what we did. No, I'm excited. And, you know, there was another trip that was coming up I was looking at, but they did say, like, you know, you'll have to go through waist deep water. You'll be climbing some webbing.
Chin deep on you.
Well, yeah. And they're like, you know, if you are curious about it, like reach out. I guess you'd have some more information. But it looked like it would be really cool. And it would definitely have me doing things that I have not done. I don't. Like, I know in the moment I would get through it. I would do it. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah. And listen, that's okay.
Yeah. Like I want to, but I want to be.
It's
like, I was like looking
you
at
don't
pictures.
have to
I was
do
like,
it
I want
right
to.
now. You don't have to experience it right now.
Have you met me?
I have. Listen, this is me talking to you. You don't have to do it right now. You're allowed to work your way up to do it. If you ran a 5K, you don't have to run a 50K next weekend.
That's true.
Like,
and that's what we would tell.
It's okay to progress into something. You don't have to jump off the deep end.
You know, me finally getting back there in our like little crawl space and our little cave helped me feel more comfortable in a couple of the crawls that we had to do. They were low. They were very wide, but low, not as low and small as that. But yeah, I was really proud that, was it last week? I crawled back in there by myself, did like a little video, got in that tight spot, and just, you know, it was really nice to kind of break through that wall and find that comfort. And, you know, to me, it's super worth it. Like I laid there at one point and just turned off my headlamp and laid in the darkness. And there is something so peaceful about being in complete and total darkness. And I don't know, cave mud and ground just feels different. Like you just feel so connected and at ease. And those first few times, like I couldn't feel that. All I felt was fear and anxiety. And it felt really good to reach a point where, like, even yesterday, like when we were all like, you know, taking a break and doing stuff and everyone like turned off their headlamps, like just laying in the dark, just like sitting in it. The fact that you can open your eyes and you just can't see anything except just hearing water and feeling the ground underneath you and above you and all around you was like, I'm glad I didn't let fear and self-limiting beliefs stop me, because I truly felt a sense of ease and peace that I hadn't felt in a long time.
Good.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. Is this the end of your ultra running career? Are you a cavist now?
No, but, you know, I think that there's a lot of crossover in both. I think it'll be some great cross training. And,
I don't know how crawling is going to be cross training for you.
it's a lot of dynamic movements.
Okay, just checking.
It's just overall strength, core strength, different stuff. One of the things that I love about ultra running so much is being in the mountains and moving your body through hard terrain and seeing what God has created and the fact that there's a whole world underneath us.
Talk about being in the mountains. You're going to be in them.
Yeah.
We run around on top of them there hills. You're going to be deep down underneath them hills.
It's just so freaking cool. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I really like caves. I've always liked caves to a great deal extent. I think I went to Mammoth when I was like 10. I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. I like to walk in a cave though. I don't want to shimmy and crawl. I'm not caving size.
You're like a show cave.
You're a good size for caving. I'm not. I'm a better size now, but still, I don't want to crawl so much. I don't want to duck even. If I got to wear a helmet in the cave, I don't know that's the cave for me.
I mean, that's fair. I will say I was like looking at some stuff. I was like, I wonder if I could fit under that. I wonder if I could fit through there. And I never thought that I would like feel that way. I was like, I wonder like what I could get down to in like a squeeze. Like that seems cool. Do I want to do that?
I wonder.
Today?
Yeah,
Probably
this is
not.
so good. And I wonder if you're going to be able to harness some of this energy for the next fire tower we see.
There's something about heights. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. You've seen me on fire tower.
I have seen
over
you
a
on
bathtub.
fire. It's horrible. But you're learning to process these emotions and then transfer your skills and experience.
And I think maybe I would be more comfortable with fire towers after I get some vertical experience.
There was where was that real rickety one at? We went up.
Oh,
where you went straight back down and then there you were yelling about the bee.
Yeah.
Is that Big South Fork?
No. I don't remember though.
You were very afraid.
I was quite afraid, for sure.
I was not. I'd still want one of those. There's fire lookout jobs. You just live in a fire tower for the summer and spot fires. And I got to be honest, that is right now top dream job.
Okay.
Spend a summer on top of a mountain in a fire tower by myself.
Go for it, babe.
I'm here for it. I don't know how to get one, but I would. Yeah, that's it for me. Like couldn't really get any better than that.
Okay. I think you'd be great at it. I think you'd really love it.
You'd be great at living in a fire tower by yourself all summer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not coming up to visit you, but I'll stay on the ground.
I'll bring Kitty.
Kitty'd love it. I don't know.
She'd be fine. There's all the windows she can look out.
Oh.
There's probably birds and stuff.
Yeah.
She'd have a good time.
Yeah, maybe after I get some vertical cave experience.
No, I thought we vetoed that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm for it.
It's good to know we didn't veto that.
No, I'm for it. I want to learn how to do that. And the main thing is because there's a lot of cool things I want to be able to see and do, but I don't ever want to be limited by my fears. Like I want to be safe, but I do not want to be limited by things that make me uncomfortable. And I don't want to miss out on being able to see and do cool stuff because I have let something stand in the way of that.
And that's so often so many people are just in that trap, and whatever that fear is, I think the unknown is scary regardless of what that unknown is, whether it's a new city, a new relationship, new job, new work, new school, or an event or a cave or an ultra or a distance. I mean, how many people are afraid of running a 50K at the state of marathon?
Yeah.
And they let that hold them back, or afraid of running a trail. So they stay on the road or stay on pathways or towpaths or whatever. Afraid of the mountains, so they just run rails to trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big transition when you go from a flat pathway to a mountain. Good gracious. There's a reward there too.
And there's a learning curve. And if you're willing to go through that, and I would encourage anyone, I mean, there'll be a learning curve with anything you do that is outside of that zone, but everyone goes through it. You're not alone.
At some point or another, and I think what's really hard is that we have this kind of false belief that everybody has always known what they're doing. And we're the new person. Everybody was new at some point. Maybe that newness was when they were too young to know better. But they were new once. They were the new kid on the team or the new kid in class. new person at work. Like, they've gone through it.
Yeah.
It's easier to go through those things, I think, as a child sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so that's another layer of like excitement for me that I don't necessarily have anxiousness around. Like, I'm excited to learn and be the student and have someone teach me and lead me, and to not know. Like when we're at a race and something's going on with somebody, like we're some of the first people someone will turn to or ask a question, or nutrition is off, or things are going on, and I'm very excited to just learn new things and be new at something.
Yeah. There's a lot of beauty in it. And like I said, those occasions in life as we grow are exceedingly rare to come organically, and we should seek them out and do something.
Yeah.
So get out there, people. Experience something new. We're going to talk about nutrition because this is an Ultra Running podcast, and I think nutrition is important to talk about. We got Tennessee Mile coming up, so maybe take notes for how to manage that, but just how to manage your race day nutrition in general. There's a lot of just like, hey, this is the boilerplate common stamp on running and ultra running and nutrition. And it's not always that cut and dry, because the market for running nutrition is labeled and pushed in one area. It's pushed in that area to sell product because that's their job. They sell goos. They sell the gels and the gummies and the whatnots and the drink mixes. That's their job. So those people are going to tell you that this is what you need to do. And then experience is going to tell you that this is what you need to shoot for. But how do you combine the two elements and actually get something that's functional for you? Right? Mm-hmm. There is the boilerplate. You need 200 to 400 calories an hour. That's a pretty wide range when it comes to calories.
It's a very wide range. And not all calories are created equal.
That's the other thing. And now you're seeing the conversation shift away from calories to grams of carbs when it comes to ultra running. Now, I would just generally think that if you're shooting for 300 calories or X amount of carbs, those two numbers are probably going to balance each other out. That you're going to kind of get there in both directions, no matter which direction you're coming from.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between road running calories and ultra marathon calories. You might only need 200 calories to run a half marathon. You might not only need 3 total to run a marathon, but you're running at a different tempo, different pace, different heart rate.
And you need more carbs to run a marathon.
And it's not going to hurt you as much. You know what I mean? I can walk out the door and jog a half marathon without taking any gels or any water.
Yeah.
I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. Speaking of water.
Speaking of that hydration. If I want to go run a trail marathon, even just a training run, I'm probably going to get thirsty. It's probably going to be a good idea to drink some water out there.
You're probably going to want to eat something.
I don't maybe have to drink or eat as much as I would per hour for a 20-mile run.
Yeah.
But I need to do something, and that needs to be in balance. So how do we figure it out, Jones? What do we need to be eating out here, and when do we need to be doing it?
Well, let me start with, and I'm going to try to make this something that this is something that can be very complex, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can without overthinking it.
Okay.
For people.
Okay.
And, there are a lot of different, and you are right, there's a lot of different brands and stuff and things being pushed. I am not a big fan of all the high carb stuff personally, because most of the time in these ultra marathons or 100-miler or 50-miler, you aren't in a heart rate zone where your body requires that many carbs per hour.
Yeah. And so that's an important point to just, before the conversation starts, we have to know what we're doing.
Yes.
Because the difference in nutrition load for a 4-hour 50K and an 8-hour 50K is going to be different. Mm-hmm. Both in quantity, frequency, and mix. Carb, sugar, protein mix is going to be a lot different.
Yes. And taking the wrong kind of calories and too high of carbs when you're moving at that slower pace is a recipe for stomach issues.
Tum-tums. Listen, if you want to get through without the tum-tums, tum-tums.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's talk calories per hour.
Let's
that
talk
you
about
need
it.
to take. I highly, highly, highly recommend getting on the Google machine, and you can just find a calculator. And I suggest doing your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, because that's going to give you the amount of calories, one, to exist, and doing some slight movement. Like, your body burns X amount of calories just existing. And there's BMR, there's RMR. I recommend RMR just because it's more realistic.
It's what you need to sustain life for the day.
Yes. Yeah. Like walking to your car, going to the
without
bathroom,
going for a
breathing.
run, without lifting weights, without any exercise added in. This is what your body needs to sustain life for the day.
So, find that number. And let's say that number is 70 calories per hour. Let's just say, well, okay, let's do simple math. 100.
There we go.
It's 100 calories per hour. All right. Well, if you need to take in 200 calories an hour to fuel your body, you need to factor in that extra 100. So really, 300 is going to be more of a target. Now, 300 is probably going to be for like a 6-foot male like John. Men require more calories. Size matters. But when you go and you do that RMR, you're going to put in your sex, your weight, your height.
Yeah, it differs for everybody.
Yes.
That's why, and this is the thing. This is why the conversation always starts with, 200 to 400.
Yeah,
because it's going to differ.
Let's say I really only need 100 calories per hour to fuel a run. Like nothing crazy, just an easy, low effort, bouncing in between that zone 2, zone 3 run. Like, all right. One, I'm gonna need about 200 calories an hour. Like, especially as a smaller female, like that's gonna be my sweet spot. So I've got to make sure that I'm getting that 200, because if I don't, well then I'm gonna be in a deficit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, as long as you are sustaining that pace and that effort, if you don't, you are going to end up in a deficit.
Yes. So what's your RMR should be factored into your caloric intake hourly. And that's where a lot of people underfuel, because they just go, oh, well, I've been taking like 200 calories an hour. Well, okay, if you need 100 calories to live and move and walk and poop, and you're only taking in another 100 calories to move your body, that's likely not enough.
Well, you might not have the energy to sustain the movement that you want to sustain.
Yes.
Or the pace that you want to sustain.
Yes. And so that's why you feel tired. That's why you slow down. That's when you get all like, brr, because you are in a calorie deficit. Just like if you skip lunch and you get hungry and tired and grumpy, it's the same thing. You're just trying to accomplish a goal while you feel like that. I didn't eat lunch, 2:00 in the afternoon, shitty feeling.
Yeah, and you're cranky. And this is the first thing that happens during an event, by the way, in the middle of the night, is you go into a calorie deficit and then you get cranky and your mind plays tricks on you and you don't want to keep going. You don't want, your head's out of it because you're in a calorie deficit. Not so much because you're tired and it's now dark to an extent, but because the calorie deficit your brain's not working like you want it to.
Right. So, and we can have a whole different topic on hydration and how that affects it. We won't cover that today.
We'll throw a flyer at the hydration because it's important.
So, also, you usually move slower in the dark. It's usually colder in the dark. You burn more calories when you are cold. You definitely need to bump it up then. And usually that's when people have decided they're tired and they don't want to eat and they eat less.
Mm-hmm.
Calories equal life.
Well, what kind of calories?
Okay. So,
can I just run on Goo Goo Clusters?
Likely not.
A bag of jelly beans? I just have a bag of jelly beans.
So here's the other thing. Sugar can be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on kind of that heart rate zone you're in. And this is where, people shit on heart rate zone stuff. I don't care. Your body is using different fuel in those different zones. I don't care how easy it feels. I don't care how fucking hard it feels. I don't care how you have gaslit yourself into believing that what you are doing is amazing and you're killing it and you're fueling properly. When you tell me it's a low effort and your heart rate is 155, you're fucking lying.
It's not a low effort.
Yep. Your body is going to require more carbs, a little bit higher carbs at that effort, and some sugar. Like, you're going to need sugar because your body's going to be burning carbs and sugar. And what a lot of people will leave out in that zone is fat and protein. You still need fat and protein. And every 3 hours, you should have taken in at least 30 grams of protein. Once you go past that 3 or 4 hour mark of moving, let's say 3 to 4 hours is kind of that precipice. After that, you need to make
What's the protein doing? Why do I need the protein?
The protein is going to help with muscle breakdown. And it also helps to level out your glucose and all of your insulin, like keeping your blood sugar.
Because I've been eating all the jelly beans?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So it's going to help with that. And it doesn't have to be 30 grams in that 3 hours. Like I said, every 3 hours after that, you can do 10 grams of protein an hour. That's doable for some people. I recommend the 30 grams in a Boost or an Ensure or some sort of protein thing. I do not recommend using anything that is dairy. Boost is dairy just because it can be tough on your stomach, especially if it is hot outside. I like Ensure, but they have the Ensure Plus. Now, let me take Boost Plus. All of these other ones have Plus, and they are 380 calories in 8 ounces.
How about just a cheeseburger? Can I just eat a cheeseburger with some bacon on it?
As long as you make sure that you are hitting that protein goal. That it's fine. It doesn't matter how you get it, but most people don't want to have something heavy on their stomach. And I'm going to tell you, if you take the 30 grams at once, it's going to sit heavier on your stomach. Yeah. And that's okay. Just know these next couple miles, it's all right to hike a little bit more. You're probably going to feel kind of full. And you don't have to do the plus that are 300 some calories. You can still just do the 100 calories.
You want to get some protein.
Yeah. So either way, after 3 or 4 hours of running, that needs to be something that you are taking in. And some fat too. That's also going to help with leveling out that blood sugar.
It sounds a lot like you're saying, hey, if you run for 4 hours, you need a bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, pretty much. And call it a day.
Don't get the lean ground beef.
Nope.
Get that 80-20 cheeseburger, and you're going to be just fine without avocado.
Yep, you want that full fat.
A little cheese on it.
Mm-hmm. So, that's really...
I'm just going to go ahead and say this.
Yeah.
If you're running ultras with Goose, the brand, stop.
I don't know. I like them. They're kind of tasty.
I'm not trying to say, hey, do this, do that, whatever. But the calorie return for a tiny little goo packet and the amount of sugar that's in there isn't going to do you favors when you're 50 miles in and have 50 miles to go.
Well, speaking of...
You don't have any idea how many of those things you got to suck down. You're talking about sucking down a goo every 20 minutes for 25, 26, 28 hours. I'm just saying I ain't going to get it. And most of them have caffeine in them, which is a whole nother conversation to have.
Yeah.
But be aware.
So not all sugar and carbs are created equal. And that is another place where people mess up. Now, I'm just going to give some basic examples here, right? So regular Tailwind, not like the Tailwind Ultra or Tailwind Recovery, is dextrose, which is basically just refined sugar. You are pretty much putting a spoonful of sugar from grandma's cookie jar in the kitchen into your mouth.
Yeah. Throw a cup of salt the next time you make up a pitcher of Kool-Aid and drink that instead.
Yeah, it's just processed.
That might be a simplification, but honestly, they're not that far apart.
No, they aren't. Then next above that, and when you're running fast,
yeah, it's a different
fuel source.
There's a range because everybody's going to run differently.
Yes.
So we're just saying this is.
But this is why you see Tailwind turn people's stomachs, and I don't recommend it because it is that bullshit terrible for you sugar. It is going
after 20 hours.
It's going to spike your blood sugar. You're going to bottom out. You're going to rise and fall, and it's going to make you feel like shit. I don't care. Someone's like, oh, it works. Well, you probably water yours down enough, or you have nailed enough of your nutrition that
Yeah.
you have a bit of a
Listen,
buffer or in a heart rate zone
if
that
you
your
ran,
body can utilize
if you
it.
ran 30 hours drinking orange tailwind and it didn't bother you, then keep it pushing, baby.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the next one is going to be maltodextrin, and it's a little bit more complex, but it still is sugar. Now it's more of like more of a starch base too. It's going to give you a little bit more sustained energy. It's gonna have higher carbs typically. I think that's in like the Bare Nutrition or the Hoist. Hoist has that, the maltodextrin. Now I cannot do maltodextrin. That carb base, whatever it is, makes me so sick.
I will say that there is a big difference between an electrolyte drink and a rehydration drink.
Yes.
When you are at effort, there's a big difference between a product like Element that's salt and minerals and a product that's meant to hydrate you after the fact, because the ones after the fact are going to have that maltodextrin in it.
Yeah. Typically that is fine. I think maybe it's Precision that has the maltodextrin. Anyways, I had made some list of some things.
Oh, that would be handy to have.
Yeah, I would.
That's all right. She'll put them in the show notes, which is a joke because I don't think we have show notes, by the way. Okay, cool. Show notes?
I think it's just generated. I don't do it. I got enough to. But I can put some things actually in there. I could add that to some show notes. Not maybe today. Maybe I'll get post update. Hey. And then the next one, again, maltodextrin, it's gonna be your step up. The next one, and this is what we recommend and I use religiously, is cluster dextrin, and that's going to be in like your Scratch Super Fuel. I do believe the Tailwind Ultra is that now, and it is formulated. I'm not going to get all the science stuff to actually not spike your blood sugar levels and to keep them level.
What happens is it metabolizes differently in your lower intestine, so it's got a longer release without a glucose spike. So there's just a difference between all of these products and how they work inside your body, as well as how they work functionally at effort, the return they're going to give you. Also, it's great to run on drink mix. If you can just run and ingest calories, drink calories instead of chewing and munching, that's fantastic. The logistics of doing that over a longer race don't always pay off, because now you've got to carry it and bag it in. Then you got to mix it at the aid station. And some people don't like doing that. It's also hard to gauge that per hour over a longer section, because if it's a 5-mile section that took you an hour at the beginning of a race, and now it's a 5-mile section at the end of the race or in the middle of the end, well, it's probably going to take you an hour and 15, maybe an hour 20 or 30, depending on the terrain. So that same calories per hour, like after a couple of those, your calories behind where you wanted to be. So while you can just get away with drinking calories, unless it's a loop race where it's really repeatable, like you're gonna want some snackies to supplement that. Also, they don't have protein in them or a ton of fat. So it's important to get these. And a lot of times you can pick that up at an aid station. You get an avocado tortilla or something.
Yeah.
They got bacon out there. Like I think any good ultra aid station is going to have some protein and fat on the table.
Yeah, you can definitely supplement with it. I'm going to use, for example, because I'm very familiar with it, the Scratch Super Fuel. Now we know for like a longer section when I'm not going to see you guys, we're going to go ahead and mix that bottle to the 400.
Yeah,
it's 400 calories per hour. And now I am going to say that cluster dextrin does not mix as easily as the other stuff. You really got to shake it. It is best mixed by your crew in like a gallon jug or something prior to.
I like to use a protein shaker. That's a pro tip.
Yeah.
You mix that in a protein shaker and then pour it in the bottle. That's just a pro tip. You go ahead and put that one in.
But if you're using drop bags, you can go ahead and mix that and throw that in some
just a regular water bottle.
Yep.
Just something and then transfer it.
Yep.
Or if you don't have any of those options, well, you got about 8-9 miles to the next aid station. Go ahead and shake that up for the first one or two.
Yeah. Throw it in.
You're going to be all right. A little bit. It'll shake up. You just keep on moving, Sally.
It will. That's kind of what Tony does. Yeah, he says it'll eventually dissolve.
And it does. It's just a little bit less instant. than some of the other lighter mixes.
Yeah. But, it's a great thing to carry, having an extra small bottle on you that is 400 calories. Well, that when you go through it, like, that's immediate. You can gauge it a little bit better. I am a big fan of drinking calories. Here he likes to eat and wants to eat his calories. I do not at all.
Yeah, and I'm also okay with some gels, and as much as I admonished you, there's some better gels on the market than that. There's some more ultra minded gels, and when I think of having a gel, it's calories per container for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm gonna invest in buying a gel and carrying that gel's got to have about 200 calories in its little package before it goes in my vest, and I'm gonna think about using it.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
And as great as GU markets and as good as Huma is with their chia seed based energy, there's only 100 calories in that packet, so that's not going to do it for me.
Yeah, that's a deploy in case of emergency kind of deal. That is not,
which is also important to have.
Yeah, you should have those. And sometimes it's nice to have that just for taste, but don't bank on it as your calories.
I really like those peach cobbler gels. It was like a 300 calorie peach cobbler gel I was using out there at Forest Service Road. It was fantastic.
Yeah, if you find what works and what you like, and you can get it down, or even if you don't like it, but if you can get it down, then
keep on rocking. Which is, we say all, like, talking about nutrition, we say my big thing is you've got to figure out what works for you, which is, gosh darn it, like there's a couple really good reasons to do a long run, and I am a long run fan. Like, I am such a proponent of the long run. If I did one run a week in training, it would be my long run.
Yeah.
And it's not just the fitness aspect of it, what the return physically we're getting from that. A, there's a huge mental benefit from your long run. Do it without music. Go out there and do it by yourself. But two, the long run is where you do all this nutrition stuff. Mm-hmm. The long run is where you figure it out. And I tell my athletes, and you tell your athletes, and I tell everybody, you've got to experiment with different foods. Different food. Not different gels, not different drink mixes, different foods. Take your long run and eat different stuff every hour. Hit that calorie target. Do your long run at 200 calories an hour. Do the next long run at 300 calories an hour. Do the next long run at 400 calories an hour, because your long run should be kind of your anticipated race pace. You shouldn't be running faster than that. The heart rate should be, this is the heart rate I plan to run for my goal distance. I'm going to run it right now. So there shouldn't be a big drop off or stomach upsetness when it comes to heart rate in your event. You should just be getting immediate feedback of what your body can tolerate and how it responds to it.
Are you craving more? Are you craving less? I mean, it's real time, real effort.
It is. And
real feedback.
And had I not done, because listen, I can get away without feeling big time on a long run. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a big deal. I can run 20 miles and, ingest 300 or 400 calories and be just fine. Yep. Like, I'm going to get the run done. But had I went into my last training block with that mentality, I wouldn't have discovered that when I eat gluten, I have a big, big problem.
Yeah, your stomach does not like it.
And then my hands don't like it either. And then both of them would have been horrible, horrible on race day. But I would have showed up to my race with everything that worked last time for me. And it would have been a disaster.
Because everything had gluten.
Because everything had gluten. So you've got to, regardless of how much advice we give you, and regardless of how much you read, your experience is the most valuable thing to you when it comes to fueling your race properly. And I think the best thing you can do is take your everyday diet, the things you normally eat and consume, and just transfer it as much as you can to your race day nutrition.
Yeah, find what'll work.
Like, if you eat bacon sandwiches for breakfast and lunch and fried chicken for dinner every day, hey, I got a good idea. Why don't you make some of them bacon sandwiches for your race?
Yeah.
Put a little fried chicken in a drop bag.
Yeah.
And just do that. Like, it doesn't have to be incredibly complicated, but I think all of the marketing and the articles and the runfluencers and And the whatever in the atmosphere that's making money off selling you nutrition wants you to think that you can't pick it up off a grocery store shelf, and it can't be what you ate for breakfast or lunch. It's got to be a fancy thing, and it just doesn't.
And it doesn't have to have 100 grams of carbs. It doesn't have.
You know what? It might.
It might.
If that's what you need.
Most people don't need it.
But a label isn't going to tell you what you need. Your body and performance during your long run is going to tell you what you need, which is, how I landed on roast beef sandwiches for a long time, because it had the protein, the carbs, and the sodium.
Yep.
And it hit the calories. It hit the calories per hour I was looking for.
Yep, and it worked great.
And it worked great until I can't eat gluten anymore. I'm struggling with the not gluten thing, but I digress. Like, you've got to go out there and you've got to experience it, and you've got to figure out what you need. And it doesn't have to be super, super complicated as far as gels and gummies and powders. Like, bacon is a great fuel source.
It is.
And that's the other thing. If your diet is protein heavy, whatever it is, and you switch to 100 grams of carbs an hour for your race, you're going to have a bad time, because your body isn't used to consuming that every day. If you are a carb, sugar, raw fruit person 6 days a week, and you switch to bacon and cheeseburgers and refined breads for your long run nutrition, your tum-tum's going to have a bad time with that. And just like every kid on Halloween that comes home with a bucket full of Twix bars and Twizzlers and sits down and eats it all and gets a tummy ache, that's exactly what's going to happen to you after 6 hours of consuming nothing but sugar.
My general rule of thumb is sugar should be an extra boost. Now, if you are running fast, and you are in a high heart rate zone, like, even though I wasn't running fast, let's take Georgia Jewel, for example, but it was crazy, right? But it was crazy hot, and my heart rate was sky high.
Yeah, similar. Like, your body's going through the same heart rate process. Like,
it was sky high. So what worked for me was drinking Coke and Mellow Yellow. Like, we make jokes that, like, I ran that on Coca-Cola and Mellow Yellow, but legitimately.
But that was what was keeping you going between days. You weren't taking a lot of nutrition out while running. You'd come in, crash, drink some cola, and then go out, and then come in, crash, and drink some cola.
As long as I was taking gels and stuff, I would kind of be okay. But yeah, I could definitely feel the dip.
Which is the other thing, is that sugar doesn't have the lifespan of energy that everything else has.
But I also drank Ensure. Ensure Plus. I made sure that I took in those, so I was still taking in protein and fat and carbs now. But Coke has a ton of carbs and a ton of sugar. Sure. Now, was I drinking that whole thing? I was pretty much drinking a can at each aid station. But, still there's going to be a dip and there's going to be a crash. Yeah. I really needed to have like a hit in between. But I would never recommend that to anyone. No. But I looked at how hard my body was working and the fuel source it was going to need, because I tried to eat a cheeseburger and I tried to eat real food.
Oh, yeah.
And that it wasn't going to happen.
Listen, I saw a guy run on nothing but Miller Lite and pickle juice. Wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but it was a lot of figuring out, like, that's the only thing my stomach will take, so I'll just keep like, that's not a good strategy as far as advice to give, but it's that figuring out in the process. I will say, I think we always recommend sugar as an emergency thing, but also a last resort. We're gonna.
It's a pick me up if you need it.
You're gonna need to, before you transition to sugar, you're gonna need to ride it out, because kind of like when you make that switch, it's almost the only thing your body really wants, or your brain really wants at that point. And it does kind of have a shorter timeline, so you got to take it more frequently. So that's always kind of like, hey, save that until the end.
Yeah, because it is going to put you on a ride. It is going to put you on a rise and fall. Now, as long as you know and you're okay with that. And
it depends on what the end is. If you're doing a multi-day thing and you're going to have like dinner and a little bit longer rest here, when the sun goes down, like, yeah, the end is kind of when your sun goes down. So like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can start bumping up some sugar.
But wrestling sugar and the highs and lows and the crashes that are going to come with, I don't know, fighting that for like 20 hours, the last 20 hours of your 100. Yeah. It's really, Mentally, it's hard. Emotionally, it's hard. We watch people do it, but, and I've done
Not
it.
with enthusiasm, I don't.
It's rough.
I do not watch with enthusiasm.
No. And you know the ride they're on. You know the beast are fighting. Man, that sucks.
But that's, I mean, and that's where people get cranky. I think the number one, cause of crankiness when it comes to ultra running is the caloric intake. Not only the amount of calories, but what those calories are made of. And I think that's going to keep you more level than everything else. Your brain needs the calories to function. Your body needs the electrolytes.
Yeah. A quick tidbit on electrolytes. And I would like us to actually talk about this.
There's a range, and you have to figure out what that range is.
And it is a large range, and it is typically 500 to 1200 milligrams per hour.
Do you have any idea how big that freaking range is?
It's so huge.
It's so ridiculous. But you can get a sweat test, and you can even get like over-the-counter sweat tests. Like Gatorade has a little patch and an app that downloads that I feel like is pretty accurate. And that's what I did this summer.
It worked really well. And know that range can change. Well, it is going to change throughout the summer because your sweat is going to change once you become heat adapted. You're not going to lose as many electrolytes. So you still may be sweating a ton, but you aren't sweating out electrolytes. When you see that white crusty stuff on people,
those are electrolytes.
Those are electrolytes and salts that they have sweated out and likely have not replaced at a level that they need to. And just because you are a heavy sweater does not mean that you are a salty sweater. You might need to take a 600 milligrams an hour, but you might need to drink 2 to 3 bottles because you sweat out so much water. It is very individualized and it will change seasonally. And those Gatorade patches are so cheap, affordable.
It's $20 for like 2 of them, or 12. I mean, it was cheap.
And you can do that throughout the season. You can see what it's going to be when it becomes 30 degrees outside, how much salt you actually need, because that's going to vary from a spring day. Yeah. And that's something you kind of do. And you can then, what you take in that training and on that long run, and when you go to races at different places, you now know, when it's about 60 degrees outside, I probably need about 70 or 700 milligrams per hour. And then once it gets cold at night, you can dial it back, because in the 30s, you only need, 350 per hour, whatever that number is.
But it is going to change. And I think listen, all the guides out there and all the information is great, but if you don't know how to apply it, it's all personal. And that's one of the mistakes I made at FS. The only thing I did good, solid the entire time, because my nutrition tanked, which is in and of itself. But I took my electrolytes every hour on the hour till I was done. But I probably didn't need to take the same amount.
No, you need to take a little less later.
Which is why, when I got home, I was 17 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
but it's that unpacking. It's like, I probably could have halved that for the last 6-8 hours.
Yeah.
And would have been all right.
Yeah.
Probably in better shape.
Yeah. You've got to be willing to adapt
and it just didn't
and know what your body needs.
It cooled down. It was the only, I had solid, and that's part. Maybe that's part of it. I had solid control over that. You know what I mean? And so there was some reassurance with handling that. Like, you know what I mean? 4 pills on the hour every hour. Like, I've got this on lock, so that can give it to you. Like, you can hold on to it because it makes you feel good about executing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just didn't. It didn't dawn on me to have a plan to back it down. And that's the other thing is my heart rate came down for a long period of time. So while I wasn't taking in the same amount of calories I did the first half, it wasn't that big of a detriment to me in my movement. I was still able to move. And there wasn't, I think, any time after that last half where I felt like I'm really low energy, low on calories. I got sleepy, tired, but I didn't really get super down on calories. But not for nothing, my body's figured out how to burn a lot of fat.
Yeah.
So it was okay tapping into some reserves. If you don't have a lot of body fat and you get behind on your calories, your body's not going to know what to do. It's not going to want to see that as a available fuel source if you're floating around 10% with your abs and you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a different thing, and it's different for everybody. We've got some basic advice that says 200 to 400 calories an hour. I would almost say, listen, if you're going to run for a long time at a lower effort, you're probably on the lower range of that. We're going to say, get the protein in there. Regardless of how much protein, make sure you're consuming protein. Like there's a range, like, hey, shoot for 30 grams of protein or 10 grams of protein an hour after 3 or 4 hours. Just make sure you're eating some freaking protein and some fat.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet those like little chomps or some little mini
They have
Slim
protein
Jims.
in them.
Yep,
Yeah,
and they
I mean,
have
I was getting
fat,
protein in there.
and the small ones I think will likely get you to where you
Yeah.
need. I'd have to double check it, but I think
You need to have
one of
protein
those an
is
hour.
the basic message, is that you need to have protein. You need to have calories. And you need to probably, if you're running for a longer time at a lower effort, consume as less sugar as possible.
Don't
Like
let carbs be your focus.
whether it's drink mix or candies or goos, it's sugar. And if you're going to run for a long time at a lower effort, consume as little of it as you can. And listen, a can of Coke at an aid station is way better than any source of sugar in any package out there.
That's true. But if you are going to do a drink mix, again, very, very much recommend the cluster dextrin.
I think NAC is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And Scratch. And when we say Scratch, we are exclusively talking about the high carb Scratch.
Yes.
We are talking about Scratch super carb. Scratch has an electrolyte mix. It's good if you want electrolytes. It's not great calorie wise. And they have a zero sugar one or a low sugar one too. So that's important.
You really have to actually look at the packaging.
You've got to look at the package. Sorry.
But those are going to be the 3 things you're looking for: dextrose, maltodextrin, and cluster dextrin. Those 3 things right there.
Yeah. Get out there, figure it out. Like, and if you have questions, shoot us a question or message or whatever. We'll talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But you've really got to do the work to figure out what you need per hour, or at least get in the zone of what is going to work for you.
Yeah, maybe it needs some tweaking depending on what the weather is or the terrain, but do not let marketing or some athlete, run influencer or whatever tell you what you need. Mm-mm. Or tell you what that range is, because your range is specific to you.
And I'll guarantee you're not going to consume 400 calories for 30 hours.
No.
You're just not going to do it. Listen, this was a long episode.
It was.
This might be our longest episode yet.
It's possible.
Can we go for another minute and a half?
Yeah, we can. Are you wanting to get to 120?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up this week, Jones?
Got some work and another cave trip.
I love that. I don't have any more cave trips planned.
Are we ever going to be able to get you in a cave? Like a crawly cave, maybe?
No, I don't know how many times I got to explain it to you. Stop badgering me. We are an ultra running couple. We do ultra running. We are not cavists. If you want to convert to cavism, then go ahead. But you're not taking me with you.
I think I can do both, and I think it'll be okay.
All right. Well, I'm not.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Listen. We appreciate everybody coming along this conversation, the Ultra Crew Podcast. Mm-hmm. You know where to find us. Tennessee Mile is coming up. I think Thanksgiving's next week. Rare.
Yeah.
There's probably people excited about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, I like Thanksgiving, but I mean, sucks for you. You can't eat gluten.
Oh yeah. Gosh dang it. The gluten thing's really hitting me hard. It really is. And I wish it wasn't, but anyway, I don't know how to adapt to this world that I find myself in. If you're an anti-glutite and you have tips, let me know. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week for another episode of the Ultra Crude Podcast.